Let me take you back to my childhood today. I'll tell you the story of my first love. They sat us together at the same desk when we started first grade. Her presence would come to define my perception of women like me. She was 7 years old, a beautiful, cheerful girl named Natasha. She had gray eyes, light blonde hair braided into 2 neat pigtails. She immediately became the leader of our class and the top student in every subject. That little person was born carrying the best qualities: intelligence, discipline, a joyful spirit, a sense of fairness, physical beauty, and more. Natasha clearly outshone her peers, whether solving math problems or outrunning everyone on any distance. It was impossible not to fall in love with her, and so I did silently, without ever confessing it for 7 whole years. I remember one time, when we were 11, she and her friend invited me over. I went and spent the entire day with them, and we met again the next day. I felt so happy in her presence that, overwhelmed, I told her, "Don't call me anymore. I'm not coming back. I'm tired of you," and they took me at my word. When I suddenly found myself next to her, wrapped in an atmosphere of ease, closeness, and acceptance, it felt too good, maybe even frighteningly good. Moments like that awaken a quiet panic. What if she realizes how I feel? What if she rejects me? What if I've imagined it all, and she doesn't care? That's when a defense mechanism kicked in. Reject first. Ruin something beautiful before it has the chance to hurt you. I also remember, when I was around 12, she called and invited me out. We walked all day until midnight. First I walked her home, then she said, "Let me walk you to the main road so you can go home." I agreed. On the way she asked, "Aren't you cold? I can give you my jacket if you want." I accepted. It felt incredibly warm to wear her shiny, silvery blue Japanese jacket. At 14, I moved to another part of the city and joined a different class. We didn't see each other for 7 years. At 21, we met again. We drank champagne at her place and kissed for the first time. During those kisses, I kept whispering her full name aloud. She played along, calling me by my surname in return, and in that strange little game, there was something deeply personal, almost sacred. To her, perhaps, it was just an evening. To me, it was a return to an unfinished moment from childhood, back to where I once fell silent out of fear. Through the taste of champagne, through her voice and touch, I was finally able to say what I couldn't back then. 30 years passed, and we met again in Moscow. I stayed in her apartment. We shopped together. I loved choosing dresses, tops, jeans, sneakers for her. She'd try them on, and I would decide what to buy. Then we'd celebrate with dinner at restaurants, stroll through Moscow, sip coffee at different, and wander into night bars. That time felt like a dream. We drank too much. Nearly every dinner turned into a celebration with wine or champagne. We joked endlessly, and our intimacy was harmonious. These were the moments we were meant to have had long ago, but somehow, fate delivered them decades later. I often caught myself thinking that all my childhood dreams had come true just 40 years late. That deepest longing to be with my beloved classmate had become reality. I imagined the past. Back then, when I loved her in silence, she was dating an older boy from school. I felt helpless. I wished I could go back in time as I am now and meet my 12-year-old self. Walking home sadly with his school bag, I approached him myself, small, scared, full of doubt. I sat next to him. He looked up at me with eyes full of pain and confusion. I smiled and said, "You won't believe this now, but one day, that very girl you're thinking about, she'll be with you. You'll wake up next to her, you'll laugh together, choose clothes for each other, share breakfasts and evenings. It'll all happen. Just wait." We decided to live together. On the one hand, there was harmony. On the other, we were 2 grown individuals with established views on relationships and life itself. Years of living shaped us differently. I cherished independence and inner freedom. She sought security and control. Sometimes we looked at the same situation but saw completely different things. I saw a joke, she saw judgment. I spoke with irony, she heard criticism. We were 2 realities trying to align, but breathing at different rhythms. At times we were united by tenderness, yet increasingly by misunderstandings. We both wanted love, but imagined it in different ways. Then came a conflict from her side, rooted in what she believed was my sense of superiority. I never felt superior, but I now regret that my occasional indifference made her feel that way. In the end, we decided to part peacefully. I left. We didn't speak for a long time. She was the first to reach out. I apologized. Our contact has faded to the occasional phone call. Sometimes I think life gave me a rare gift, the chance to touch a childhood dream, to live in it, to breathe it, even if only briefly. Maybe that's all happiness really is, to know that something you once wrote silently in a school notebook eventually became true. Natasha will always be, to me, a symbol of love that traveled through time, quiet at first, but real, lasting, and deeply human.